Today we're going to look at farming steak and converting that steak into different organs to tinker efficiently. The Lost Farm is in Act 2 near the Far Oasis. So if you don't have the waypoint to Lost Farm, you can leave town or use the nearest waypoint and port over to it. There's a lot of cows here to kill, and they drop steak. There's also in Daryl's dressing room, which I found has a decent number of dragon stones in it. I don't know if there's anything better to farm in there, but let's just look at a run here. So that's about half the run. I already auto-stocked a couple of times, but this steak is the item we're looking for. I've also found it's a pretty good source of these SA runes, or SA runes, which are something you're going to need a lot of. We farmed some steak, so let's see what we can do with it. The first thing I want to show you is actually a hotkey. If you have something in your cursor, you can hit 6 to move it to your cube. The other thing I want to show you is 5. That will cycle through, it'll transmute whatever's in your cube. But I actually want that set to steak, so let's set that back. The next thing I want to show you is how to convert your steak into platters. What you need is a can opener set to p.gem and the Multistocker set to steak. Then if you transmute, you'll get out a steak platter. Now what that is it's worth 10 steak points. We're going to need a couple perfect gems for the next part. If you take, I don't know why I opened my stash, but if you take your steak with your steak platter with the perfect gem and transmute it, you'll get a soulstone. And that is worth 10 soul points. If you take another amethyst, you will get a jack of hearts. Now, these are worth 10 heart points, so we've converted steak points into heart points. The first thing I want to show you with these is I'm trying to I've got this piece of armor, and my health is very low. I only have 1500 health, so basically I'm planning to tinker on health to this piece of equipment. What I can do is type .t tinker if you've loaded tinker. So .load tinker, then you can type .tinker start, and it'll take all the organs, including those jack of hearts, in your inventory and tinker them onto your gear. So this has just added 20 points of life to our gear. So each heart adds 2, those jack of hearts will add 10 apiece. The cap for HP per item is 200. So if you take out 10 jack of hearts and tinker those onto your gear, you'll have the maximum amount of health that a piece of gear can have tinkered onto it. Now that I have 9 more jacks of hearts, I'm gonna finish this upgrade. There. So this piece of gear now adds an additional 200 to my life over what it started with. It would also be nice to get some damage resistance and magic damage resistance onto this gear. The organs that you want to tinker on to do that are quills which will add damage reduction, and tails, which will add magic damage reduction. Those organs are a little more difficult to farm for than hearts, or souls. You can see I've used some of them, but I don't really have any to speak of right now. 13 tails. I do, however, have 100 souls. Generally, you'll want to tinker your hearts onto your gear to get the life bonus, but you probably won't need the extra mana that souls would give you. So the way you can convert your heart points into... the way to convert your soul points into quill and tail points is to use a mana potion to take soul points, or a health potion to take heart points, plus the Multistocker set to a different organ, and that will convert those points to that organ. So there's a cap of 40 on damage reduction and magic damage reduction. So what we can do is create 40 tails from our souls. So what we want to do is set the Multistocker to tails. It is now set to tail. We would take a mana potion to convert our soul points and hit transmute, and you will see that we now have 116 soul points and 14 tail points. And if we do it again, it does it again. So now the 5 hotkey would be nice, but it doesn't seem to be working. There might be a smarter way to do this, but I don't know it right now. So there we have 40 tail points. So if we auto-extract start, it should extract all of those tails. And if we put our armor in here, make sure Tinker is loaded, it's already loaded. If we Tinker start, it will apply all of those tails to this gear. We can now see that it has magic damage reduced by 40. So let's go ahead and do the same with quills. .t to change it to quills. You usually only need the first 3 letters. So that now it is set to quill. We'll put a mana potion in to use our souls points. We have no quills, so we just need to do this 40 times. Yep, we now have 40 quill points. Extract all the quills, put the armor in the cube, and tinker it. And basically, we're going to want to go around and do that to every piece of our gear, and we'll get 200 life and 40 damage reduction and 40 magic reduction on each piece of gear. On some versions of the mod, actually probably most versions of the mod, there is a cap to the amount of tinkering you can do to a single item. The version I'm playing with, there is not a total cap. I think normally you only have like 15 tinkering points, or up to 15 tinkering points per item, and each time you tinker something onto the gear, it will reduce your the amount of tinkering points you have available for that gear. I just wanted to point that out in case you can't tinker onto the same piece of gear that many times, as I've shown here. Still useful to do. You just can't do it quite to the extent here.